Yo, tapping in real quick for this UFC fight night. Cannonier versus Ciao Borralho. And if I'm not mistaken, we are back in the apex for this one. This video right here, this is the final thoughts, the final talks, the final answer, the final all of that. Now I'm talking about, let's go ahead and dive into it. First fight of the night, as far as I'm concerned, should still be a complete pass for everybody, unless you on the side of things that I'm on the side of. You understand what I'm saying to you? Low-level women's MMA, and in my personal opinion, a money line price tag that cannot be justified in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You understand what I'm saying to you? Kong, she's 5-0. She should be 5-0. Up against opposition with combined records of 25 wins and 13 losses. Victoria, she's 9-5. She should be 9-5. You understand what I'm saying to you? Up against opposition with combined records of 58 wins and 16 losses. Let's talk about these 5 losses though, because in my personal opinion, had Kong had to fight these 5 levels of opposition, she'd be 5-5 right now. Again, this is just my personal opinion. Natalia Silva, Melissa Gatto, Manon Farrow, Erin Blanchfield, Miranda Maverick. I mean, come the fuck on, man. That's 5 losses Kong would have on her record as well. Kong would be 5-5 right now. You understand what I'm saying to you? Victoria has by far faced the higher level of opposition, man. You know how, you know the body of work of them young women. Natalia Silva, huh? Manon Farrow, Erin Blanchfield, Miranda Maverick, and Melissa Gatto in her own right. Come on, man, stop it. That's 5 losses Kong would have on her record. She'd be 5-5, man. I don't give a fuck how anybody feel about it. She'd be 5-5. And rightfully so, up against that level of opposition, Victoria's 9-5. Those are her only losses. You understand what I'm saying to you? Listen, man. In no way, shape, form, or fashion is this money line price tag justifiable. At low-level women's MMA, for a young woman who's 5-0 up against opposition with combined records of 25 wins and 13 losses, who's coming in against Victoria, who has by far faced a higher level of opposition, and in my personal opinion, is in her own right the higher level of opposition in this matchup. Come on, man. This is an easy dog play for me. I don't give a fuck how nobody feel. Complete pass otherwise, in my personal opinion, if you're on the other side, man. You want to drop money, you want to drop anything on a money line price tag next to Kong looking like that, you're out your motherfucking mind, man. But again, this is all just my personal opinion, man. Josie Ann versus Jacqueline. Another low-level women's MMA matchup, in my personal opinion. And I'm just going to go ahead and side with the slight advantages that reside on Jacqueline's side. You know what I'm talking about? As well as that 6-inch height and that 3-inch reach. Josie Ann, 10-2 up against opposition with combined records of 34 wins and 20 losses, where Jacqueline 6-0 is up against opposition with combined records of 6 wins and 1 loss. Up against opposition with combined records of 20 wins and 16 losses. Her 6-1 is up against opposition with combined records of 20 wins and 16 losses. There is no discrepancy in the level of opposition that these 2 young women have faced, and with it being low-level women's MMA, I am just going to reside with the slight advantage. I'm just going to side with the slight advantages that reside on Jacqueline's side, man. These women fights got me all fucked up. You know what I'm talking about, man? It's still James for me, and I recently seen the money lines, the price tags next to these individuals' names, man, prior to doing this final thoughts video, final talks, final answer, final all of that. You know what I'm talking about? And James is the dog, man, but we are in the dog house. So as of right now, you know, we on a couple dogs all ready to bark, man. And I ain't mad at it, man. Because I like James to go ahead and be the one to do the better body of work absolutely everywhere over the course of 15 minutes if it goes the distance and if he finds the finish inside the distance because it presents itself. I like him to get the victory that way, man. I'm not high on Borralho in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And with that being said, there's no very big level. There's no very big gap, if any, in the level of discrepancy that these two young men have faced. Borralho 7-4-1 up against opposition with combined records of 81 wins, 23 losses. James 14-3 up against opposition with combined records of 128 wins, 63 losses. There's really no big gap in the level of opposition that these two young men have faced. I do like the body of work that the all-around body of work that I've seen produced by James, and I'm just not that high on Borralho. So James is still the pick, and he possesses a 4-inch reach on the feet when you know, they're in the striking departments where I see this fight taking place for the most part, man. And I like James to do the better work, man. And Jose versus Zach is still Zach, you know what I mean? And there's no discrepancy in the level of opposition that these two young men have faced. Jose, 11-3 up against opposition with combined records of 73 wins, 61 losses. Zach, 7-1 up against opposition with combined records of 36 wins, 26 losses. Again, one has a couple more fights on his side than the other. Other than that, there's no discrepancy in the level of opposition that they've faced, man. And I'm just going to side with the height and reach advantage and the all-around body of work and the man that I feel is a bit more dangerous in this matchup, and that's Zach. Dennis versus Danny, the same that can be said as previous, man. You know what I'm talking about? No great discrepancy in the level of opposition that these two young men have faced. I'm just siding. I think it's a very evenly, it's a very even matchup all the way around, in my personal opinion. And I'm siding with the individual that I feel is just a bit more dangerous. You understand what I'm saying to you? And just a bit better absolutely everywhere, man. And that's Danny. Danny's 12-4 up against opposition with combined records of 95 wins, 51 losses. Danny 9-1 up against opposition with combined records of 39 wins, 17 losses. Again, one side has a couple more fights than the other, but other than that, there's no level of, there's no discrepancy in the level of opposition that they've faced, man. So I'm going to side with the one that I feel is a bit more dangerous. You know what I'm talking about? And that's Danny, in my personal opinion. This fight right here, man, listen, I have no good solid read on how this one's gonna play the fuck out. I'm gonna roll the dice. We gonna see how they lay, but I want absolutely nothing to do with this fight in a parlay play, man. Not even in a haymaker, to be quite honest with you. You know what I'm talking about? Ryan versus Robert. Ryan 6-1 up against opposition with combined records of 38 wins, 35 losses. Robert 10-3 up against opposition with combined records of 81 wins, 40 losses. Again, one has a couple more fights than the other. But other than that, there's no discrepancy in the level of opposition these two young men have faced, man. And it is what it is, man. I'm going to side with Robert to be the one to go ahead and get this one done over Ryan in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm not calling how it's going to happen. I'm just going to rock with Robert to be the one to get the victory, man. Michael versus Neil. I'm still on Neil, man. Nobody's going to talk me off of Neil. Nobody's going to persuade me off of Neil. I'm on Neil, man. I'm not turning my back on this young man. I'm not going against the motherfucking grain. I'm with him till the wheels fall off. And if they start to fall apart on Saturday, then so fucking be it. It is what it is. He's not in my motherfucking main bets. He's not in my main parlays, as he's a significant underdog. Once again, he will be part of my dog plays. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? You cannot deny that he has faced the higher level of opposition. And as of right now, in Michael's career, Neil is the highest level of opposition that he has ever faced. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, man? So, listen, it is what it is. It's all worth consideration in my personal opinion. And I'm rocking with Neil, man, to go ahead and get this one done. And I know, Michael Morales ain't Michael Malott. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's a whole different beast. I understand that. One thing has nothing to do with the other. I understand that, but I still feel the same way I felt when Michael Malott fought Neil Magny. This is the highest level of opposition that this young man has ever had to face as of yet in Neil Magny. This is the test. Nothing before that. This is the test in my personal opinion. And he did not fucking pass it. You know what I mean? Now, am I as confident in Neil Magny to get this one done over Michael Morales as I was over Michael Malott? I mean, I'm right there teetering on the fucking line. I'm not going to say that I'm not. You understand what I'm saying to you? They're both wrong. Is Michael Morales possibly the cleaner, crisper out of the two when it comes to the striking? Maybe, possibly. I'm not even going to fucking sit here and dog my baby Neil like that, man. The man's long. He's clean. He's crisp. He's very fucking technical in his own right. His IQ is sharp. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not talking about some of these other motherfuckers whose IQ is about as sharp as a fucking marble. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about sharp. Hollow point. Like, it's sharp. His IQ is sharp. He's very fucking smart. Both of these motherfuckers, Michael Morales and Neil Magny, are very smart, man. They have very sharp fighting IQs, in my personal opinion. They don't get crazy. They don't go wild. They very fucking technical. They pick their shots. You understand what I'm saying too? They don't chase after the finish recklessly. They don't do anything recklessly, in my personal opinion. They're very solid. They're very well-rounded. But with that being said, there is one that has been at this level, at the highest level for the longest time, doing very fucking well, and that's Neil Magny. The other one, in Michael Morales, this is his first time having the opportunity to perform on this tier at this level of opposition, in my personal opinion. None of those wins, none of those individuals prior to this matchup are on the level of opposition of that of a Neil fucking Magny. Again, this is all just my personal opinion. And, you know, neither one of them are very high volume strikers. They like to work their all-around mixed martial arts game. They like to use their range, maintain their distance. They're both very fucking good at it. Neil has a slight reach. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, this is going to be a very, very, very closely... I mean, this matchup is going to be technical, and it's going to be close. And give me Neil Magny via split, possibly unanimous decision, because it just is what it is. There's levels to this shit, and I get it. You don't face a higher level of opposition until you do, and then it's up to you, and it's up to Michael on Saturday night. You know what I'm talking about? And we going to see what happens. But my dice on this fight getting rolled in Magny's direction. You understand what I'm saying to you? Edmund versus Meerschaert. It's Edmund. You know what I mean? It's Edmund via unanimous decision, possibly finding the finish in some way, shape, form, or fashion inside the distance in his own right, whether he clips him and disconnects him from his consciousness, club and subs him, or, you know, Gerald's playing the motherfucking wrestle fuck game too heavy because he's, you know what I mean, desperately diving for a takedown, not liking the way something took place on the feet in the striking department, and he sinks up a front choke, a guillotine, or some kind of submission in his own right. But it's Edmund to secure the victory on Saturday night, you know what I mean? Like I said, if it was a few years ago, we'd be talking about a Meerschaert play, you know what I'm saying? But Edmund has worked on that department very much so, and enough so, in my personal opinion, to do what he needs to do to keep this thing where he wants it to be and get the victory, man. Angela versus Tabitha, it's Angela, man. You know what I mean? It's Angela all day, every day, even on Sunday, man. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, Tabitha's 10-2. Looks a lot more appealing than Angela's 17-13. But Tabitha has not been up against it, you know, on this tier against the level of opposition that they've both been against as of lately for as long as Angela's been up against it. You understand what I'm saying to you? And just is what it is, man. You know, Maybe if this was a few years ago, before Angela had turned that motherfucking curve and really turned everything the fuck up, we'd be talking a little bit differently, you know what I mean? But for me, as far as this fight's concerned, it's women's MMA, you know what I'm talking about? The caution tape has been placed. Proceed with caution. Wherever you know, your gut, your heart, your wallet guides you, you know what I mean? Best of luck to you. It's not in my main plays or parlays. I highly suggest it's in none of yours, but you know, when we do involve it, for me, it's gonna be Angie. We'll talk swap out options for y'all in the parlays, you know what I mean? At Jared versus Caillou. Caillou, like that little kid shit to be on the TV, right? Caillou, give me Caillou. Give me Caillou to get this with done. Via unanimous decision. 3 rounds of 2, maybe 4 rounds of 1. Possibly finding the finish inside the distance somewhere in those late championship main event rounds, you know what I mean? Maybe somewhere in the 3rd, possibly in the 4th or the 5th, you know what I mean? Sinking in a submission or finding his motherfucking chin. You know what I'm talking about? Those fighting nerds, man. They've been going crazy. You know what I'm talking about? He was preparing Los. Los is helping prepare him. Everybody's preparing each other, and everybody's been showing up and showing out, showing the fuck off, to be honest with you. I'm rocking with Caillou, man. So, you know, that's the final thoughts. That's the final talks. That's the final answers. That's the final all that on all that. I will post a couple individual 60-second clips for final thoughts on some of these shits, but cause some individuals don't like to tap into this, and I ain't got into all the adding those motherfucking, trying to spin another one, adding those motherfucking tags and all that in there yet, man. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is. I appreciate y'all for, you know, bearing with me. You know what I'm talking about? Still rocking out, although I ain't got all that fancy shit going on. You feel me? And I'm gonna fuck around and we're gonna go live, man. You know what I mean? We might go live this week for this one right here prior to this fight card kicking off, man. So we can all talk about this one for a little bit and chop it the fuck up. You know what I mean? But that's the final thoughts, man. Like I said, proceed with a whole lot of caution on that first fight of the night. That women's MMA bout, Kong versus Victoria, that money line in no way, shape, form, or fashion is justifiable. And trust me when I tell you, Victoria is going to cash as the biggest motherfucking underdog on the card, and she's going to boost every parlay that you attached her to right through the motherfucking roof. You understand what I'm saying to you? Listen, she is 9-5. And you cannot blame her for those 5. Natalia Silva, come on, man. Melissa Gatto, Manon Farrow, Erin Blanchfield, and Miranda Maverick, all 5 of those young women would hand a loss to Kong as well, and probably inside the distance in spectacular fashion. You understand what I'm saying to you? Kong's 5-0 would be 5-5 if she fought those same 5 that Victoria lost to, man. Something to keep in mind. One thing doesn't have anything to do with the other. I get it, but it's all worth motherfucking consideration, man. Huh? Trust me when I tell you that dog gonna bark. It's gonna bark. Excuse my language. Victoria the pick, man. And I'm talking about, for the sake of the pick, Jacqueline's the one to get it done. We've been through it. You know what I'm talking about? James, he's gonna bark. Huh? I ain't even know he was a dog when I picked him, but we in the doghouse and we starting off with some motherfuckers that's gonna bark. You know what I mean? Again, it's all just my personal opinion, man. Zach, Danny, you can give me Robert. Get one over on Ryan for the sake of a motherfucking pick. You know what I'm talking about? Neil, huh? Dog play. I'm trying to tell you, if you play that motherfucking fight and you lock Michael in, as one of your main ones, please do yourself a favor, man. Use the swap out option. I don't care how confident you are. Use the swap out option. You know what I'm talking about? It's Edmund. It's Angela, man. If you want that fight and you want to toss it in there, use the swap out option, man. And it's Caio. That's it. That's the final rundown, man. And as of right now, you can still catch Zach under, Jokers was getting up to the -4 or something. You know what I mean? But you can still catch that 4-piece at around plus 250. Zach, Edmund, Danny, and Caio. Zach, Edmund, Danny, and Caio at plus 250. You can still catch that one. I'm about to tap back in, and we're going to talk about a few more. And that's that with that, man. Appreciate y'all.